Problem is opportunity because it means people need something. If there are no problem, you have nothing to solve. Therefore, you cannot even be a business. Somebody can waylay you on the road and take all your million. It will take you a shorter time, you become another millionaire again. Because now you know how to become a millionaire. But if you don't know how to become a millionaire, if you pick 1 million on the road, in a short space of time, it is gone.
Everybody can use AI in their business, but they don't know how or why. So trying to tell somebody they need AI is not a good way to start. What they need to do is solve a problem.
Let's say 2,000 years from now, those that will be looking at the AI we are talking about today will laugh that is the technology that we will use it then. This AI technology that we have today hasn't even gone anywhere compared to what we are capable of as humanity. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us in today's episode of the Obehi Podcast. I remain Obehi Ewanford, your host here in this podcast. In the Obehi Podcast, we love to talk about our story and where we are coming from, who we are, why are we doing what we are doing, because we believe that storytelling is the most powerful instrument that there is behind the metropolis that we build, is behind the world that we create, and it's also behind the peace that we make. It's basically everything and for everything. So that if you are in business, if you are a founder, it is important that you learn this most important and ancient form of human communication, which is storytelling. So today I have the honor of talking to a player in the field who is going to be sharing with us what he does and within also why is he doing what he's doing. So that is actually the joy that we have here, being able to bring in experts to share with you tips and strategy that you can also apply in your business, because nobody have it all. But if we are able to learn from also other people who are also in the field, we're able to go places. Quintel, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure here to have you. Could you please tell the people who you are so we can just roll from there?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Obehi. My name is Quintel Harcum. I founded Green Book Digital, where I do AI consulting for small growth phase businesses so they can cut costs, save time, and scale up. Most of my work is around helping them capture and convert more leads, follow up, and reduce the weight and the stress that comes around communication with clients and things like that, so they can focus on what their services are. Prior to this, I founded a Good Part Company, which is a plant-based health cafe located in Baltimore, Maryland. And within 9 months, I was able to scale it up and start a partnership with Johns Hopkins University, which is a world-renowned health institution. And I brought the first health cafe and juice bar to their campus. And so from Johns Hopkins, I started Green Book Digital because I got a lot of requests to help people with their marketing and also with their setup, like on the back end, when they learned everything I did for Johns Hopkins and building out my juice bar. So I saw an opportunity to help other entrepreneurs and founders build out better systems, better infrastructure, and use AI while they're doing it so things can be a lot easier and they can move a lot faster.
Thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. We love the idea that you have the mind to help other people. And that is what I think we do. That is what our life is about. Muhammad Ali put it perfectly well, that as the service to other, or our service to other, is the rent we paid here on earth. So every business that is built around that is definitely the one that we want to promote, because we need to help one another. We should help one another. All right. So Quintel, like I was saying before, we like to learn more about you because we were not there where you were born. And we certainly are not there where you are right now. I am in Italy, so you are in the US. Would you like to tell us a bit about your background? Where are you coming from?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, baby, shout out to you for that, because I got Muhammad Ali right here over my shoulder on my wall. So I know I definitely, you got to follow the greats, right? They lay the pet, they leave it all out there for you, right? So you just follow what they do, and hopefully you can, cover some ground. But for myself, I was born and raised here in Baltimore, Maryland. And from here, I went to Lincoln University, which is the first historically Black college and university in America. So Lincoln is in Pennsylvania. So I went away to school for 4 years, and I actually got a degree in philosophy. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was fun. I played sports in high school. I liked philosophy, and it came easy. It came natural. just reading the books, writing the papers, and things like that. But when I was in college, rather, that's when I got the bug for hustling and entrepreneurship. I started typing people's homework for a couple extra dollars. I was one of the first people on campus with my own computer in my room, so I didn't have to go to the computer lab. So I was typing homework. I was burning CDs, and that kind of made my room a hub. And me and my roommate, we both were from Baltimore. We started selling T-shirts and potato chips. We did a whole bunch of other stuff going. We had little video game tournaments. So we started hustling and just making extra money. We had work study. So at Lincoln, I learned a lot about entrepreneurship, networking, and, getting out of my shell, because I came up in Baltimore. So Lincoln University taught me a lot about that. From Lincoln, right after Lincoln is when I started my first official business, because at Lincoln there were groups of students. They allowed to have different parties, so you didn't have to be a fraternity or a sorority. You could be a chapter, or what they call it, and they would let you have like an organized group. And these guys were throwing parties in Philly, but they brought those parties to the campus and had like a smaller little setup, and it was fun. And I was like, we can do the same thing in Baltimore. So I talked to my friends, and then in 2004, we started our first business doing nightlife promotion and helping other clubs bring crowds to their clubs for happy hours and things like that. And it was a really big deal. So mid 2000s to the late 2000s, this is when like VIP, right before bottle popping and all of that type of stuff became a thing. And right before social media, we were doing parties, and it was really successful. So that helped me learn a lot about doing business, doing deals, negotiating, having partners and things like that. So I always, and then the influence of hip hop, like all of that really made me want to be an entrepreneur and just like own my own things and have my own things. After that, that lasted until 2010. And during that time, I also landed my first career position from college, which is as a government analyst for the government. So I worked for the government for 14 years. I had that first business. And then once that closed down, I just focused on my job with the government. And I had a couple other side projects, but eventually I felt like the government thing was not really for me. I was in a cubicle all day. It was secure to a certain degree. Right now we can see how it's not so secure here in America. But anyway, I got back into making an exit plan. I was like, I need to get back into business.
What do you mean it's not so secure now in the United States? Could you expand more on that?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in Baltimore, which is close to Washington, D.C. So there are a lot of federal and government agencies around this part of America. So everybody's goal, I won't say everybody, but growing up and getting a job with the government, and the government where I was, which is Social Security, was like a guaranteed job for the rest of your life. And then earlier this year, we had the administration cut a lot of government jobs. And then right now, currently, as we're speaking, we're going through a government shutdown. I went through 3 government shutdowns during my career as a government employee, as an analyst. So I started to understand like, oh, this is not as safe as everybody thinks it is. So I need to bet on myself, and I need to make sure I can just do business and make things happen, even if this government thing doesn't take me for the rest of my life. And on top of that, it just wasn't that fun. So yeah, and I just like business. I like creating things from scratch and being a bit creative and solving problems. And so I had to recover. I had to get my body back right, my mind back right, because that nightlife business kind of wore me down a bit. I had to get my health back right. I had went plant-based, and I saw the opportunity to help other professionals like have better options, better food, healthy food options. And so I took some of my savings and I started making juice. Juice was a part of my day-to-day. So I just started making my own juice, and I kind of funneled it through the same idea and system as I did for the parties. Instead of having a happy hour to have drinks, we would have a happy hour kind of and have juice, and I would host these things in my apartment. So I invited a bunch of people over for like every other weekend. So it was like for 3 months, I would invite people over in my apartment. I rearranged the whole living room and had people come in and hang out, and I would just make juice from my kitchen and sell it. I had it all packaged up and branded because I understood design and those types of things. And so that's where the juice bar idea started. And then from there, I was able to get a loan. I found my first brick and mortar store, and then I opened my first juice bar and health cafe in 2020.
That's lovely. I love that idea. I love the way the whole thing is stacked upon or stacked one on top of the other. But now I'm having a curiosity, because here we also try to inspire people. That is the reason for sharing the story. Now, You know what I'm thinking? I'm trying to imagine a time that you could have this figured out. What could have been inspiring you to take this decision to be able to be an entrepreneur, even though you have a kind of a secure job, so might call it, looking at the government job, but you were not comfortable there. Tell us what could have been pushing you towards a different direction where you want to be the boss of yourself.
Well, honestly, Obey, it's because I had a business that was successful before I started that job. So I saw what success looked like in entrepreneurship. Like it was a partnership with me and my friends, but it was really successful. Like every month we made, and it was a if you throw parties, a lot of successful entrepreneurs I found, like a lot of their early businesses here in America anyway, and you probably see the same in other countries. A lot of people who are good at business, they started doing events because you have to understand how to galvanize people, how to get people together, right? And then you have to organize some money around it. So I saw how that goes in nightlife. Back then, everything wasn't digital, so we still saw a lot of cash. So when you see a lot of cash flowing through the bar and people paying hundreds and $20 bills at the door, like I saw money moving, I saw money flowing, I saw people having a good time based on something that my friends and I put together. So I already had the bug. And then, like I said, growing up in hip hop, this is early in, so I'm learning about Russell Simmons was a big influence to me, Damon Dash at the time, Jay-Z. So I'm seeing these guys make things happen, and they just look like me, they talk like me, they dress the way I wanted to dress. So I was already influenced by early entrepreneurs. And then in my neighborhood, there was a guy named Mr. Bill. So when I was little, they used to be in America, in urban cities like in Baltimore, they have what they call like corner stores, or in New York they call them bodegas. And Mr. Bill used to have a record store on the corner of my block. It was called Jet Set. So he would sell albums and cassette tapes and things like that. And he was older than me, but he wore like the fly glasses like rappers did. And he was already middle aged, or at least I thought so. So he wore like little chains and he had, cool clothes, but he was a bit older because he had gray hair. So he was kind of a hip older man. So I saw and it was legal. So I saw what entrepreneurship looked like. And then he transformed Jet Set into a corner store where he started selling food and chips and things like that as big record stores started to take over the music space. We didn't have mom and pop music stores. So I saw him transform that. And I was like, oh, Mr. Bill was in charge of all of this. So I just had the early influence of what entrepreneurship could be like, how you can just kind of call your own shots before I had this secure job. But you get taught to go to school, go to college, get a job. And so that was the path I was going down.
That's interesting. So every 2 weeks, actually every week, we have a LinkedIn live event. Okay, because we have one that is on African diaspora storytelling, where we basically talk about everything related to African diaspora, our history, our way of life, our challenges, also, why not, also our opportunities, if you want to put it like that. So this week, then we have another one, which is, we call it the business storytelling series. We'll basically talk about business and how to use storytelling in business. So the week after this one, we're going to be talking about, this week, we're going to be talking about the role of community support in our development and also in business. So where this is taking me is, some people think that for you to be successful in business, or for you to even go that trajectory, you must have a lot of money for you to start. But what we are finding out in the community, having interviewed a lot of people, I've interviewed more than 1,000 people here, is that it is not just about the money. Sometimes what you need is the initiative. I think Napoleon Hill also said it in his book, The Think and Grow Rich, that a man of initiative will always find a way to get things happen, because what you need is to make things happen. That is what I think the success is. If you are interpreting it from the Latin word succede, which is success, meaning to succeed, meaning you make things happen. Whether you get people to take action or you make yourself to take action, it's essentially about making things happen. And when you make things happen in the right way, then you are successful. So where I'm going with this is, how do you see the role of the community or the environment where you live in contributing to the success that you have today, or how people should see it in setting up businesses? Okay, before you respond, I also want to point out another thing, that in our community, all across the African diaspora community, in most of the cases, other people are servicing us, in the sense that they are bringing the food for us to eat, they are running the chain of businesses, we are just consuming on. Okay, not in all of it in totality. So, but what we are saying that there are some individuals like you who might not have all the millions of dollars to start, but you still start, you still do something. If whether you are looking at it from the point of view of philosophy or mindset or business initiative, how do you see the role a community play, the environment play, in being able to turn out success wherever you are? What do you say about that?
environment plays a big part in all success. They say environment is indicative of success. And now it works in two different ways I've noticed. If if you see a certain level of success, then your brain starts to understand just that it's humanly possible. I can go do that. So if you're in an environment where you don't see certain types of success, it's going to be more challenging for you to believe that you can go and have that kind of success. Or it works in the reverse way, that your environment is just so bad that you have to break out of this environment. And anything that is not this environment equals success for you. And for most other people, it's going to look like success too. You just didn't know that level of success may have been possible, but you knew success was getting away from where you, out of the position that you were in. So environment is a major factor in success. That even comes down to the people that you spend time with, right? If you're around the wrong people, they won't be supportive in you trying to be successful and you trying to make things happen, like you said. So yeah, environment is a very big deal. For, like when I talked about Mr. Bill, these are my formative years. So my elementary school was across the street from Mr. Bill's store. So every day I see him pull up in his burgundy car with his gold chains and his hat and open his store, close his store. So I see it. It's in my environment. I can walk to it. I can touch it. I can touch his car, right? He would give little kids a couple of dollars every once in a while. He never gave us anything free out of his store though, but he would give us money. But I can see a certain level of success. So that was real in my environment, right? So environment is a very big deal of what success is. And it doesn't mean that, so here in America, if you live in a certain zip code, right, a zip code is how they kind of, the borders for a neighborhood, right? So you have a zip code. People who live in wealthier zip codes where the average income is higher, they live longer lives than people who live in a lower income zip code. And the zip code can change from the distance of a street. So if the zip code on this side of the street is one thing and people over here make a certain amount of money and people on this side make a different amount of money, the range in life expectancy and health can vary by 20 years. That's just environment, because my neighbor takes better care of himself. It's a little less stress. They might have a little bit more food, right? Or they share more resources, those types of things. But you don't have to make a lot of money to adopt the mindset of having the environment in the community that's going to help you be successful.
Thank you so much for that. Now, I'd like you to respond to another part of the same argument, which is whether it is possible, or actually, I think it is possible. I'm not even doubting it, but I want you to respond to this, that it is possible for us to be able to be successful, irrespective of where we might have, irrespective of where we might live, as long as there are people there. Of course, I'm taking this mindset from the book that written by Walter Wallace in 1910. The book is titled The Science of Getting Rich. So Walter Wallace was saying that except maybe where you live, there are no people there. In as much as there are people who need your service, if you do what they want, in fact, they said that there are certain ways to do things that you will get rich. If you do it, whether you know it or not, you will get rich. So what I'm saying in a sense is that when we look at our community, whether you are looking at those in the United States or those in England or those in Canada or those in Italy, there are people that we eat every day. People will dress every day. People will talk every day communication. People will want their life to be better in the sense of maybe you want to cook your food and distribute to people that want to eat. People will need a better way to recharge their phone. All these are different services that we can render. So I am trying to ask you as a business owner, as a founder, what kind of encouragement would you want people to get looking at where they are, even when they see problem? Because every problem is opportunity, because it means people need something. If there are no problem, you have nothing to solve. Therefore, you cannot even be a business. So I want you to speak more on that, looking at it from your point of view, looking at it from where you are coming from, where you grew up to where you are today. Then, of course, we'll be moving into AI, which is where you are basically heavy at the moment. Please share with me on that.
Yeah, so you're right. Business is problem solving, right? And Richard Branson made it even more simpler when he says, like, business is just an idea that you use to help somebody get what they want. And that's why you can have successful business in bad environments, because bad environments, there are tons of problems, and you can get rich solving those problems. Now, it may take a little bit longer. There may be people who do the same thing and make more money. It doesn't matter. Solve a problem. So what I would say is start by figuring out what problems you can solve with the skills you have. So oftentimes we get told to follow our passion and, figure out what we really like and then work around that. And if you love what you do, you won't work a day in your life. All those things are fine, but you're not going to make any money and make a profit if you're not solving problems. So what I would say is that find a problem you can solve that matches with your skill set, and then you can start to earn some money. Now you can start to have more options on what problems you want to solve based on what you like. But no matter what, if you want to have a business, you need to solve problems first. So if you're good on computers, okay, now you're solving problems on computers. If you're good with food, now you're solving problems in food service. But here's the thing. You may be good at organizing things. You can organize things in food service because the people who are good at handling food are not good at organization. Possibly, right? They may not be good at organization. And you come over there and help them organize their shelves, organize their inventory, right? Organize their training staff. That's what business is, solving problems. So always start with the problem. Don't start with, I like this thing. That's fine. You keep that thing in your life. But if you want to start a business, solve problems. If that thing that you like does not solve people's problems, you're going to come up short. And then you're going to say, oh, well, you might even start blaming it on the people, on the community. They don't like my thing. They don't need your thing. We are all very selfish, self-serving people. We need to solve our problems, and we're looking out into the world and says, who has the best solution for what I have a problem with right now?
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. So before we move to AI just now, which is where you are, I want to add to what you said there. That is really beautiful. That I can even go ahead to add that when you find something you love, which of course you must find something you love, because there is an episode we did recently with a professor friend of mine in the UK, in that we're looking at what is happening to people, even those that are very successful, that they just jump on a 10-story building and they fall from there, not because they don't have money, but because they don't have fulfillment from the money that they have. Because money alone, it doesn't solve the problem. You need to really have people at heart, but you also need to have an internal satisfaction in what you do. Because Jim Rohn will say, you set a goal. You say you want to be a millionaire today, or you want to be a millionaire in 5-10 years time. What you will realize is that when you become a millionaire, that is not really what you want. He said that is not what we should spend the energy on. What we should actually put in our head is, what do we become in the process of becoming a millionaire? Because if you are somebody who can become a millionaire, somebody can waylay you on the road and take all your million. It will take you a shorter time, you become another millionaire again. Because now you know how to become a millionaire. But if you don't know how to become a millionaire, if you pick 1 million on the road, in a short space of time, it is gone. Because money doesn't respect you. Money doesn't play partiality. Money just want to stay with the one who know how to hold it. Because money is an instrument. If you have a gun, you don't know how to use it, it's useless. Because the gun itself doesn't do anything for you. But if you have a gun now, you know how to use it, you can go to the forest and start to shoot animals that you need to eat. Then you will not die of hunger. So I think what we know how to do, our vision in life or our mission, should be in relation to why we want to serve, should also be something that make us happy at the end of the day. But even if we reverse that, if it make us happy, if it doesn't serve people, it's also going to be useless because you're not going to pay yourself like you said. So what is the verdict? The verdict would be that, first, know that you have a mission in this world. Know that you are important to the community. Then the question is, what can you do? If you know what you can do that fulfill that mission, what can it do for people? If we can satisfy this equation, then your life will be good almost all the time. If you have a lot of money, you will be happy. If you have less money, you will still be happy because you are doing your service, which is going back to what Muhammad Ali said. Service to other is the rent we pay here on earth. Not how much money, not how less money, but happy people. And if you really help people, money will come. All right. Having said that, Quintel, let's come to AI? Because that is another tool again. Of course, even though people don't see that to be tool, but that is what it is. How did you get into
Yep.
AI? From philosophy, business, and AI. Tell us about the trajectory.
So I'm gonna go back as far as I can think to let you know to bring it up, and it's gonna be fast. I was fortunate enough that my mom bought me a computer as a kid that I had in home. So I had an HP computer. It was early back when we used to use floppy disks. So I was always into computers. I wasn't a computer engineer or anything like that, but I knew that's what I wanted. You know, I like video games, but I wasn't a gamer. But I like computers because I always saw it as a tool. Right? I'm an only child, so I was always figuring out. I had to occupy myself. So I'm either figuring out games on the computer, I'm figuring out word processing. Like I'm just trying all the things on the computer. Then the internet came out, and so now I'm on the internet all the time. So I spent a lot of time learning from people who already knew more about me when it came to computers. Fast forward to college, I had a newer computer in college. So I basically never stopped working in computer. So I always would use it. That's why I got hired for the government, right? I was good at doing analytics and then breaking it down, putting it into spreadsheets, and then over to my managers, processing cases for claims and things like that. So I'm always close to the computer and I'm always online. And when it comes to AI, I started when it opened up, ChatGPT dropped for everybody to use in 2022. I was already using automations, is what they call it. And a lot of times we don't know, but we've already been using some level of AI. At my juice bar, I had to do everything and doing inventory, training, marketing, all those types of things. And so when AI dropped, I already knew, because the people who are smarter than me have already used this, that it would be helpful to me. So as soon as it became available, I started using it for my business because I needed to be able to do other things, like mostly things around like marketing and formatting some documents. And AI just made that a lot easier. So I've been using it from day one as far as ChatGPT. But prior to that, I was using automations through the government, through spreadsheets, and through marketing, email marketing. So in email marketing, they have automations that can send follow-up emails. So you see what it looks like on the back end of an email sequence. If a person clicks this, it gets this email. If they don't click in 3 days, they get another email. If they do click, then they get, you can see how all of the pieces start to work together. And it started to help my mind wrap around how much easier doing my business is if I use these automations. And AI is just a very fluid way to automate a lot of processes in business. So I started using them and implementing them into my cafe for marketing, for my inventory. Like that was a really big thing. Doing a juice bar, I got fresh produce coming in every day. We got to be able to track this, managing my sales, managing my team. So that's how I got into AI, just by always being on the computer. And then when it opened up in my business, it helped me alleviate some of all of the things I had to work on.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And I think I want us to spend a few more seconds there. The reason is that I want you to help us demystify the idea for people, because some people don't see AI as a tool. Therefore, they are scared of it sometimes, and therefore they don't even know where to start. But I like to tell people that computer is a tool. AI is a tool. What is a tool? A tool is that thing that you use to help you do things easier and faster. Even our hands are tools. You see, if you don't use your hand, this is one of the laws of the universe. Anything you don't use, you lose. If you don't use your hands, you might not physically lose them, but you will lose the utility of it, which is you will not be able to use it anymore. If you have been sick, this has happened to me. Of course, I know it happened to a lot of people. I was in a coma for 14 days in the hospital. When I came out, just 14 days. I'm not saying 1 month. When I came out, I couldn't walk. When I put my leg on the floor, it looked as if the entire building is moving around, along with me. So I had to do physiotherapy before I could walk again. Which is to say, because my legs were immobile for just 14 days, my leg was already useless to me. Imagine if I'm there for 1 year. So many people, unfortunately, even keep their brain for like 20 years, just consuming information, not able to renew their brain. And then they wonder, but
Mhm.
why am I not able to think like this? But you need to, first of all, rewire your brain for your brain to function the way you want it to function. So your brain, your leg, your head, your eyes, all these are tools that make the machine work. Okay, when you take that away from the human body, you need to understand that everything that we have in front of us, the cutlass, the gun, the computer, the internet, they are all tools. I'm making it very
Mhm.
simple for us to understand, for you that are listening, for you that is listening to understand that when we talk about AI, we're not talking about something that have come to consume you, something that have come to steal you, something that have come with you, so woo woo, whatever you want to call it. It is a tool. If it is a tool, what do you do with that tool? So the question I'm asking you, Quintel, where should they start from? Because now let's pretend they understand that it is a tool. If they understand
Mhm.
that, where should they start from? Because many people still do not know even where to start from, unfortunately.
So I agree that it is a tool, and if you agree that it's a tool, then you have to apply it to your business. Tools get you leverage. Leverage looks like speed. Leverage looks like ease. It gets more time. Leverage gets you more output or more outcomes from less input. That's what leverage is all about. So if you want to use AI in your business, where you're going to start with is not with the problem, not with the tool. You're going to start with what is the goal that you want. And I break it down into what I call a 4O flywheel. And so the first O is the outcome. Like, what kind of outcome are you trying to get for your business? Are you trying to grow an audience? Are you trying to sell a new product? Are you trying to capture more customers? What is the outcome you want? Okay, and then you want to kind of define that outcome with a number. I want a certain, I want X by Y, or we need to do this by this date. Or you want to give it a time. The next thing is the obstacle. The next O is the obstacle. What is the obstacle in the way of you achieving that outcome? Right? The next O, the third O, is the outline. Outline the processes and the steps that you're currently taking to get that outcome. And if you don't have any, then that's a part of the problem, and then you can work around that. And now that you know what you want to get done, what's in the way, what you're doing now you can explore options for how to use AI to get the outcome you want. So when you're in this outline phase of the flywheel, you're breaking down all of the steps, right? You can't skip any steps. Don't skip any steps. Look at all of the steps that you're doing, and if it's something that's on a computer, it's a good chance that you can automate it or use AI for it somehow. And that way you can still have a human touch. You can still have, the right feel, or communicate a certain type of way and solve a problem a certain type of way. But you reduce the amount of work that you have to do to get you leverage. And so the fourth O is options. What options can you explore to help you get that, to help you get the outcome you want? So what are the AI options you can use? There's thousands of them out there. You don't need a whole lot of them. You might only need one, right? So you work backwards from the outcome. You don't start with trying to use the flashy, fancy new AI tool, right? You go through the 4O flywheel. Don't skip any steps, and that's where you start with AI. Don't start with it. It sounds counterintuitive, but you don't start with the actual AI. You start with the outcome that you want in your business.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, as an AI consultant for businesses, is that correct? You are for businesses, right? Okay,
Yes.
tell me, what exactly do you do?
What I do is help the company or the business I'm working with most of the time communicate better and faster and cheaper than what they do now. And so all companies don't need to make more money. What they need to do is save more time. And I help them save more time by using AI to automate some of their processes. And I don't like to use a lot of big fancy terms about, like, I'm not really trying to go through all of that. You need to process these applications faster and then contact the person who has the best application. But if somebody has to spend 6 hours going over these applications and sending emails and phone calls, that takes too much time. So I'll come in, I will have AI scan all of the applications. I'll set it up so that the applications are digitized. So now AI can read it. You build out some kind of logic to say this person is qualified. So I help people qualify, say, leads, or if they're qualifying applicants, you qualify it. There's going to be a few triggers. They hit the top 3 qualifications, and now you get notified, Obehi, and it says, hey, this person is a good candidate, and it sends you an email on why this person is a good candidate. And then it also may send that person an email and say, hey, you are a good candidate for this position. Let's schedule an interview. And then the link is in there. You don't have to touch any of this. You don't have to touch any of it, because I just came in, went through your process, saw everything that you did, and picked out those 3 parts that we can automate. So that's exactly what I do, right? I reduce all of the manual stuff that you're doing for repetitive tasks that you do every day, or every week. You go through these things. I come in and automate those processes so I can save you time, and then you can focus on higher leverage things, more strategy, talking to more clients, closing more deals. Those are the types of things I do.
All right. Of course, when you...
Did that answer the question?
Yeah, of course you do. I have another question from that. Of course, that is how this podcast is. Either one question lead to another, and often we just have a box open for us to be touching one at a time. All right. So when you show the finished product to the person like this, it is clear, it is obvious that they really need it. But before they see the finished product, it is not obvious for some people, for some businesses, no. So I'm trying to understand, how do you sell the idea to them that they need AI in their work for them to sign up? Then they help you to help them. Share with me on that.
Got you. So that is true. Everybody can use AI in their business, but they don't know how or why. So trying to tell somebody they need AI is not a good way to start. What they need to do is solve a problem. So I typically ask them about what are the problems they have in their business. Most of those problems are around saving time. Where are you spending most of your time on repetitive tasks? We know what most people spend most of their time on repetitive tasks. That happens to be admin and client and customer responses and customer conversion. So those are some processes that most people are dealing with. So if I already know what your business is. I've already done research on your business. I'm starting with the problems. Right now, bigger companies know they need AI because they're already processing huge workloads. So they know they need AI because they're already using software tools. They already manage a lot of data. So it depends on the customer that I'm talking to, how I help them understand what type of AI they need. So for smaller businesses, whatever the problem is that you have, which is typically speed to communicate or organizing information. Those are the main 2 problems. So I start with the problem. I don't start with saying, hey, do you need AI in your business? Because they're not going to know what AI is. If I'm talking to a larger company, they already know what tools they're using. Hey, we have these processes going on. We're using this software. We're using that software. We need to put this together so it can be faster, so it can be more effective for my team. Or they'll say, I need to train my team on how to get this done better. And then I'll come in and say, hey, you can use AI for this, that, and the third, or you don't need this tool at all. There's a feature that lets you do, this thing. So all of my consultation is not necessarily around AI. It's around building better systems. And if we go through that flywheel and the option says eliminate this step, then that's what we do. We don't have to go through trying to implement AI.
All right. Now, for somebody that is looking from the outside, see what is happening within the world of AI today, I'm afraid to say the person might actually be confused with all these shiny things every time coming from, even within ChatGPT alone, there is a lot of update coming every time. So when people look at it like this, I think maybe somebody might be confused in that they might not know which tool to use. In a situation like this, what do you recommend? Okay, what kind of general knowledge do you want us to have about these different tools that are out there? Should a business owner, a founder, be jumping from tool to tool because there is a new one in town? So jump onto that. Okay, this one is better. So what do you say about these multiplicities of AI tools that are coming all the time?
I would say that if you're a founder, you are responsible for being curious about the options you have to do better business, to better serve your clients. So you should know that the tools are there, but you should only focus on using the ones that get you the results that you want. Which one solves the problem in your business? So for example, if you're already using ChatGPT for something and it's working just fine, then you may want to stick with it for a while until a new problem pops up. So when I started out, I was trying a bunch of different tools. You should try new things because some new things fit your workflow. But where you should start with is, where's the problem I have? Am I solving the problem I have with the AI tool that I want? Now, if there's a problem within that tool and there's another tool that can fix that, then you make the change. But you don't want to spend too much time on a bunch of different tools, because one, you may end up spending too much money, and two, you're spreading yourself thin trying to use all the tools, and you're not really solving the problems that you have for your business or for your customers. So you have to have some level of discipline to not spend a bunch of time and money on all of these new tools, but you have to stay aware of what's happening out in the market, what kind of tools are coming out, what kind of features are coming out. And you don't have to do a lot. Like they say, less is more. So you follow one or two people who talk about AI, people that you trust, people that you relate to, see what they're talking about. Let them be your filter. And then they're going to say, hey, this is better for ChatGPT. This is better than ChatGPT for this reason. If that reason does not apply to you, your business, and the problems that you have to solve, don't worry about that feature. But because it looks so cool and it moves so fast, a lot of business owners get caught up in that. Like, oh, let me see if that try. Don't try to make the tool fit your business. Find the tool that fits your business. It's all about owning your problem, owning your business, understand what you need to get done. And then you can go and have a better experience with AI and all of the new tools.
AI. Can we say that, do we know where the future of AI is taking us to? Looking at it as humanity, looking at work, looking at businesses.
I think the far future, and by far I mean maybe more than 10 years from now, right now the world is readjusting to AI. And so some people will be displaced because very menial manual tasks won't have to be controlled by people. And so people are going to upskill themselves to either managing those tasks. So there's going to be a lot more people in positions of being more like a director of AI tools. That's one thing. But when you have more time and you're not spending so much time on administrative tasks or manual tasks, you have more time to be human. And it seems a lot of people are not very optimistic about what AI is. And that's because, and I believe, they have not had time to fully appreciate who they are and how they are, right? So they attach themselves too much to their work, and their work, for some people, is very like low leverage work. And so if that low leverage gets eliminated, now you feel like you're eliminated. And so what people are going to start to find, just like we did in the pandemic, they're going to get more in touch with themselves, more in touch with the people around them. And if more people have more time, you're going to get more community building, because most people are not going to be spending so much time at work. So now you got more time to connect with people. This is a little bit down the line as we all readjust globally to using AI. We're going to have more time to get connected, because you're going to start meeting more people who all change jobs. They have new careers now. So people are going to get more in touch with other people. They're just going to have more time. Simple and plain, it's going to have more time to connect with people. The value of human connection is going to get higher too, because everybody's online. What's going to happen with AI is that two things are going to happen. Right now, it's being used to have you either consume more, and if you have a business, it's going to help you produce more. At some point, more and more people are going to burn out on AI consumption. So if you're on social media, if you're watching TV, and you're watching all AI movies or things like that in the future, at some point you're going to realize like it's more valuable to be connected in real life. And that may just mean going to the movies with real people, or going outside and doing some kind of community event. So I think that there are some really good things that are going to happen. It's not going to be all good, but I think the good thing is that people are going to get more in touch with themselves and reconnect more with other people, simply because they just have more time to do so.
All right. Be able to connect to other people. Now, some people are thinking that they should be scared of AI. What do you think as an AI consultant? Should we be generally scared of AI? Why? And if not, why not?
I don't think you should be scared of anything, right? It's still a man-made tool. You don't want the wrong people doing the wrong things with it. But if you are a business owner and you are spending your time thinking about negative outcomes, you're not good for your own business. So, I don't think you should be scared of it. Like you said in the beginning, it's a tool. If you feel like the tool is more powerful than you, then you're having the wrong perception on who has the upper hand here. Now, as far as it eliminating tasks, again, talking about AI, if AI is removing tasks from what you're doing, then that gives you time to work on more high leverage things. So you shouldn't be scared to do real work. What I've noticed is that AI exposes your level of like cognitive ability and also your agency, like how much responsibility are you willing to take on and do something. So on one side, you have the agency to go and find the AI tools to help you get things done in your business. Now that those things are taken care of, are you going to go and do the next best thing, which is something that only you can do in your business? So I just think that that's just a personal thing. You just should not be scared of anything, just don't approach anything with fear anyway. As far as AI taking jobs, that's typically for people who don't feel like they already have a certain level of skill. And that's okay, because you can get trained on these things to use AI. You can do it now, and you can do it for very low cost. You can just look up AI classes for free at universities in your city, and there are free AI classes. So there are more than enough people who are looking out for us on the right side of AI. And it all comes down to how much responsibility are you willing to take for your actions, for what task you have to do, for the way that you're supposed to show up. If you have a job and the expectation is for you to do a certain thing, and you got a tool over here that's going to help you get that thing done, and it's not hurting anybody, use the tool, and then you'll have more confidence. You'll understand, oh, all it took was for me to read a little manual or watch a quick video, and it just walks me through it. And now I'm not as scared. I'm not as scared because I realize, like, oh, I got control of this tool. Like, yeah, there's some other new tools, but let me manage where I am. Like Robert F. Smith, he is a black billionaire here in the States, and he runs software companies. It's called Vista Equity. So he invests in enterprise software. So I always listen to him about things when it comes to business. And something that he said recently was, do something about what you can do something about. So don't be scared of AI, because you can do something about it. You can go learn about it, and you can use it, and you can get familiar with how it's going to work in your life and in your business.
Control. That is a word you use there. And that is what I want to ask a question about. For most people that are scared of AI, of course, I know that you have heard of a lot of people who are skeptical about AI. Some of them say that AI is going to grow out of control and it can therefore become very dangerous. Some people even speculate the idea that AI will become conscious, even though that is never understood to me, how AI can actually become conscious. Whether AI is going to be able to be born like a child, is grow up, you have the same functionality, the same cognitive ability, and all of that, then die at a point. I don't know how they explain that. But the question is, will AI eventually grow out of control? I don't really know whether it is growing, but is it going to grow out of control? Is that something that the people are actually scared of? Where are we in that point? Are we supposed to do anything about it? Is it ever going to happen? What do we have in front of us looking at the future of AI and humanity?
Well, I'll be honest. That's above my pay grade. Like I don't know where it's all going, because I don't develop it. I don't have the resources or like the funds to dictate how it gets used, if it's going to become conscious or not. I'm just not a fearful person, and you don't have to be religious or not to not be fearful. I just would not advise anybody to spend time on negative thoughts, because if you're thinking that somehow you're going to find a way to justify that existing in your life, and again, do something about what you can do something about. What can you use AI? If you don't want to use AI, there's nothing wrong with that. The rest of the world is going to use it to their advantage, and at some point, you're going to use it. You're going to have to adopt it, because, for example, most people don't have landline telephones in their homes. They have mobile phones. They have cellular phones, because that's basically the only other option. That's the only option. Eventually, having some kind of AI access or using it day to day, that's going to be the option for all of us. Is it going to become conscious and grow and take things over? I don't believe that that's where the world is going to go, but I don't spend my time thinking that far ahead. I don't think that that's helpful for anybody's mental health and it's not helpful for growing a business, it's a possible concern. I mean, yes, but I mean, we watch movies and we see it in movies. A lot of that is not practical for what we're doing and where we are. If it comes about, then I think that right now we'll probably have enough protective things in place to prevent it from being like that. But really, I'm not sure if that's where it's going and how that's going to impact all of humanity. The only thing that I do think is clear is the amount of power and energy necessary to use as much AI as we want to. So we definitely have to be more efficient in our energy uses and finding better ways to recycle energy or get more natural energy so that we can power a lot of the AI tools and databases and computers and things like that. That is something that's a bit more tangible, more physical, something we could put our hand on. But AI becoming aware and conscious, I'm not sure about.
All right. I don't know if, as a philosopher, somebody who did philosophy, you could even explain to us what is meant by consciousness. All right. You see, before you respond to that, I do have a thought about the entire question. In that I see AI as a tool, and as a tool, I don't see it to be in control, because we have never invented a tool that is a control of us. Otherwise, the tool invent us. We are invented tool, and the human brain, we haven't even studied half of it to understand what it is. It's so complex. Someone said that the human brain is like the entire universe. So how can something that is created by the human brain therefore become so powerful that it's undo the entire cosmos? I think I might be wrong. I am an amateur. I don't have any data to back it up. But I think like in about 50,000 years from now, okay, maybe that is far. Let's say 2,000 years from now, those that will be looking at the AI we are talking about today will laugh that is the technology that we will use it then. In essence, I am saying that this AI technology that we have today hasn't even gone anywhere compared to the capacity compared to what we are capable of as humanity. Of course, I will go back to what Wallace was saying in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, that everything that we see is, and even the one that we don't see yet, are part of the thinking substance, they call it. No, that we are so powerful that we can't even fathom how powerful we are as human beings for the fact that we can think. So I don't think that because we build a particular tool today, because it's able to do a lot of things, therefore is the best thing that we can do. Because imagine, say maybe 250 years ago, what kind of car were we using? Okay, what is the name of the telephone line that Augustus Caesar was using? Okay, what of the Pharaoh? How was their telephone line? Did they remember the number they were dying to call? All these things didn't exist. They didn't have any airplane to fly. Perhaps in their time, they do believe that is the best that they can do. We have airplane today. We have jet. We have F-35. We believe that is the best that is possible. No, that is the best that is possible for us right now. If we move into maybe 10, 15 years from now, 200 years from now, 1,000 years from now, our children, our great-great-grandchildren will laugh that what we call telephone today was actually working effective, because they will develop technology that is so advanced. Maybe I am over-optimistic. Can you say something about that? And can you say something to the effect of what are we even talking about by consciousness?
I don't know about all right, let me start with the first part. I might be like you, Obehi. I'm optimistic about the future of AI, but I'm an optimistic person in general. So that's just me. Now, what people have to understand about AI is that AI is trained on, like you said, humanity to this very point. So the best that we have now, like they said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So AI cannot create the future because it's up to humans to decide what we want, what we need, and what's going to exist going forward. Like answers only exist in the future, and they only come about because you have a problem. So AI is can't predict all of our problems. right? It is a predictive model, but it's only modeled after all that we've done so far in society. Humans determine what gets done next. So to some point, you can call it spiritual, you can, whatever it is, there's an intangible thing to account for, so where AI just cannot create that. It cannot make that. It has to wait for instructions. It has to be prompted by us to go and make that happen. Now, it can predict that your car is going to need an oil change, right? It can predict that children need different types of education, and so we can build out different curriculums, but it's not going to be able to predict what we see as a burning enough problem to go create a solution for, because it just does not have that human factor, that human component, which is attached to what you're asking about around consciousness. So consciousness, some people may define consciousness as being aware of yourself, right? The simplest way to put it is I am, right? And again, if you're into any kind of like holy texts and scriptures, and I am is God. So that your awareness of yourself is a level of consciousness. Would an AI be conscious of itself? Possibly, but I don't know how AI is built. I don't know how whatever the computation or the algorithms are to say that, it's consciousness. Also, with consciousness comes emotions and things like that. So I don't believe that AI has emotions. It can understand sentiment. It can possibly try to express sentiment at some point. It does the best it can based on whatever we train it to. But like you said, we don't know all of the power of the human brain. We're still learning things about the human brain. And whatever we don't know yet, AI can't know. So that's my best take on whether or not AI can be or is conscious, reach consciousness. I'm just not sure about it.
Thank you so much for that. I love that. And of course, this is also to encourage the people out there that don't be scared. Don't be afraid. We haven't got it even near to what is possible for us. We are just barely scratching. It's this idea of why we don't see alien. Well, people have already responded to that, because the difference between us and ape or chimpanzee is less than 2. Yet, the way that we operate and the way the chimpanzee operate, I'm talking of the level of DNA, which is the rate we are, and the way that the chimpanzee are, is less than 2%. Yet, look at how far we are. So, I have no reason at all to be scared. I'm not afraid of anything, just like you said, Don, because I know that we are like little baby that are growing up. Sometimes when your child is growing up, so that you see them make a good step, you move forward, you're happy. My child is walking now, but it's still a child. It's still need to grow. It will be 5, it will be 10, it will be 20. It's still growing. It's still growing. I believe in our age of growing up, we are still maybe actually less than 10 compared to where we are. Because if you imagine the vastness of the universe, look at what we are doing today. We are still babies, because we still kill ourselves in war. We still poison people. We can't even understand why we are doing certain things. If we are conscious, even human being, we will be able to eradicate all the hungers in the world. We still live on the basis of skin color. That is merely visible. The thing that you can see is the basis of how we define humanity. That I am black, I am white. For the purpose of this, I can even take a gun and shoot you. We are still infant, looking at it from that perspective. We haven't grown up at all. So by the time we get to maybe the next 50,000 years, we would have. You see, we need to start by eliminating the problem that we have to start with. That we don't. Because there are some existential questions that we can even ask, no? If we can't even figure out how to live together as a community, as a people, we are living in the same country. We can't even fathom how to live in peace. Now you are telling me that we have got into the zenith. We are still crawling. Okay. Now, for the people that are using AI and within the AI industry, do you have some people that you are sort of looking up to as you are learning from? Because in this life, everybody is learning from somebody else or learning from some information that is created by some other persons. Okay, I'm asking that so that some other persons can know that also there are pioneers. You don't need to know everything, but at least you can also learn from other persons. What can you say about that?
Yeah, so the beautiful thing about the way the world works is now we have the internet is that you have access to a lot of information. Anytime you don't know something, you can just go look it up. And so that's again goes back to being responsible and accountable. Like you can go and make this happen. Now, as far as the people I look up to, I don't know if it's people that I look up to is more as much as that I have people whose insight I trust and look to around AI. And with with the internet and the way that business works now is that having a product or AI tool, it is like you can find the person who owns the tool. And so the good thing is that the person who owns the tool, they're out there talking about it. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to process this as I'm talking about it. Basically, what it's called is founder-led content. We know who Steve Jobs was. Steve Jobs was in front of everything for Apple. Right now, we know who Sam Altman is. He's out there in front of OpenAI talking about it. So you can just go and look for Sam Altman interviews. See if what he's talking about, if you like what he's talking about, if it's related to which, do you like it? Is he helping you better understand it? Right? There are all these people online talking about AI who can help you understand these things. So I look to the source for the information. Now, as far as like the tools and how the use cases and all of those things, there are a lot of different people or different sources I go to. So I would say you could go and subscribe to a newsletter. Like I don't work for any of these people. I don't get paid by any of this, but there's a newsletter called The Rundown, and it's going to tell you everything that's happening every day in AI 5 days a week. They also have an AI University where they show you how to use a lot of the AI tools. Right. So now, again, you don't have to be, scared of it. You can just sign up for that. And some of the things are paid, some of the things are free. But the rundown, the newsletter itself is free. And every day it's going to tell you what Sam Altman is doing, what he's talking about, what new partnerships are coming about, what new features are available. Right. So you can find that the rundown, you can sign up to the newsletter, or you can go on YouTube and just look up AI news or AI industry. It's a whole lot of people talking about a lot of different tools. So that's the best thing I can do is just to say go to the rundown. It's a lot of different newsletters. I subscribe to like 3 of them, but you can just go online and go on YouTube and look up AI industry news and find who to look to. The people that I look to are more like Muhammad Ali, Steve Jobs. I would prefer to like read books and learn that way, unless they're already in business. Like I only follow people who have the outcomes that I want, and then if I can go learn how they got to those outcomes, then I look to those people. Because how somebody obtained a certain outcome, you may not be down for that, right? If they moving illegally, if they're unethical, if they don't have a conscience, right? You may not want to follow that path just to get that result. So I'm more cautious. I'm just more aware about how that goes. But when it comes to just AI information and news, that's pretty objective. So you can just go right online, look up AI industry news, follow it. I wouldn't say follow like big futurism is another one where they talk about a lot of things going forward. TLDR is another good newsletter to follow to learn about like tech and things like that. So these things are pretty objective. They'll give you their opinions, but they're talking about the features, the new companies, the new tools, right? And those things are just easy to find once you learn about it. So that's my recommendation on who to follow and how to become more aware of what's happening in the space.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I appreciate the conversation that you share here. Actually, I call it full lecture for somebody who doesn't know about AI, looking at all the different tips and strategy that you share here. They should be able to kickstart and get running. That is so valuable. Thank you so much for that. If you were to add something to the conversation today, what would that be? And remember to tell people how to find you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm on YouTube at Stringer Quell. So it's StringerQuell. So YouTube at Stringer Quell. My name's Quintel. Obehi's going to put it in the description. Quintel Harcum. I'm on LinkedIn. So I share most of my information on LinkedIn, and I share it on YouTube. I just launched a new podcast on YouTube, so That's all about building business into the future. So you'll be using AI, or even if you're not, how are you finding creative solutions and real technical things that's going to help you build your business. And you can subscribe to my newsletter there. It's called Built Different. So if you go to thisisbuiltdifferent.com, everything is going to be pushed through thisisbuiltdifferent.com, the podcast, links and access to me. And I'm always available. So if you're on my YouTube channel, you just click the link in the description. You can email me. You can follow me on LinkedIn there. So everything is on my YouTube channel.
Thank you so much, Quintel. This has really been a very beautiful conversation. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, brother. And keep on doing what you're doing. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Obehi.
Thank you.